Now, I really, really love the idea of every single club having to have an academy player. Why are you smiling?
Nah, because obviously you mentioned, my shoulder.
Yeah.
Nice physio just messaged me, a guy called Ray Patterson, for what I need to do.
How do you know him?
I don't know him.
I was just DM'd you on social.
DM me, yeah.
Okay, and what do you need to do? What's he said?
Like heat packs and... but I need to just check what's going on with
It's a lot of effort, isn't it? It's a lot of effort.
Anyway, sorry.
You got to stop arm wrestling all the women in the office. That's what you got to stop doing. Maybe try and win one of those as well. I really like the idea of clubs having academy players, right? Listen, we know about Man United. I think it's 85 years, over 4,000 games. They've always had an academy player in their match day squad. I think it can easily be done, actually. You look at Spurs, they've got Kane and Skip. I'm just mentioning a few, not all of them. Arsenal got Saka and Smith Rowe. Liverpool got Trent. City got Foden.
West Ham got Deck. Do you know what's crazy? When you talk about the homegrown, the ones you've mentioned, think about how elite the ones that you just mentioned are. You're talking about these are like the...
big boys, yeah.
The big boys.
So Man United's criteria, Man United's, is they have to have signed them when they were under 18 and played for one of their junior sides. That's what their criteria for a homegrown player is. I just wonder, from your perspective, Benty, A, do you like it? And B, would it encourage development? And do you think we would see a rise of not just English players, but just a better performance from a national side?
Yeah, but see, there's a...
And sorry, last question. Would it make a difference? Because sorry. But I say that because... we've just mentioned Kane, Saka, Trent, Foden, Rashford. These are players that are going to be in United's 11 anyway. So would it be a major thing for clubs to do or not?
Maybe a little bit, but I also think you have to take into account that the likes of... we'll use Phil Foden as an example. Yes, he's a phenomenal talent, but look what he's been working with, which is other foreign players, which have kind of elevated his level.
Yeah.
Look at the coach in Pep Guardiola who's nurtured him, because... For large spells when on his development, when he looked like he was become a top player, everyone, and I was one of them included, said, well, what's he learning by just training at Manchester City? He's got to go out on loan, he's got to get games. And Pep was one that said, listen, relax. I know exactly how to coach and nurture this young player. And he's been proved right, because look how good Phil Foden is. So, starting 11s, I'm not so sure, but I think there should be an academy graduate in every squad. And now when I say squad, I'm talking about outfield squad, not a third choice goalkeeper on the bench where he's never going to get game time because you're just trying to fill your English quota.
Do you mean 1 to 11?
I'm talking about on the bench, 1 to 11, but not goalkeeper, an outfield player.
Well, it can be a goalkeeper if it's a 1 to 11.
If he's of a good standard, don't just put one on there for the sake of it because you're trying to.
No one's going to put a rubbish goalkeeper in.
No, but a lot of clubs nowadays, certainly to fill that English quota, they just put a.
No, I'm talking about 1 to 11.
As in players, but see, I'm not saying that there should be one that definitely starts every week.
All right, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
so I think there should be.
No, I don't. I just think
then you could put an 18-year-old in your matchday squad that you're never going to use.
No, but this is my point. They've got to be of a certain level. You can't just put any third-string young goalkeeper on there just to fill that quota.
All right, okay.
But to put him in the starting 11, because I get it. Not only that, to make it to the very top, the work you've got to put in, you've got to be exceptional to be able to make it to any first team. I know we watch football and you think, like I get young kids talking to me saying, well, it must be easy because we see so many footballers. No, like in my academy, in my Ipswich Town youth team, you talk about how many kids would come through that academy. There was like 3 in my year. Do you know what I mean? We left loads behind on the way. We probably left about 100 kids behind for 3 of us to make it to the first team. So I think matchday squad, yes, but to say they've got to start one in every single squad.
Every single match day?
Every single match day squad,
1 to 11.
No, I don't think so.
You want to see him on the bench, worst way?
Yeah, worse. But
what about, because you could put them on the bench and not use them, what about they have to at some stage take part in the game? Even then, I suppose you can bring them on 89 minutes and make no difference.
I just think, I don't think you'd have to put them in your match day starting 11 because, quite simply, quite frank, if they're not up to the level, the standard.
I know, but then won't that encourage the clubs to produce these players to a better standard?
No, but you've got to think, the clubs are trying that already. They're not trying,
they're
are
not. They're not. Look at Chelsea, right?
Yeah, but you say that about Chelsea.
They've just spent over £300 million in this window.
Yeah, but look at the quality of youngsters they're producing.
I know, but look at the players that won't be able to get into that team now.
But they've got to do more. That's what it comes down to because Chelsea have got an unbelievable academy. Look at Reece James, arguably one of the best right backs in the country.
Yeah.
You've got Reece James, you've got Mason Mount, you've got Armando Broja, you've got Conor Gallagher who's been there. Do you know what I mean? They've got Trevor Chalobah. They've got players that have come through their youth setup.
Okay, so you would be happy for
John Terry.
Yeah, okay.
Another one.
You would be happy for a homegrown player to worst way be in the match day squad.
Yeah, every single week.
Okay.
But not they shouldn't be. I don't think they should be shoved. They have to start because, quite frankly, if they're not up to their level, it's not doing them any favours either.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's speak to Samuel, Norwich City fan. Hi, Sam.
Hello, Andy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for asking. How are you today?
Yeah, very, very good. First time caller. I've listened for a long time, but finally decided to pick up the phone today.
Why?
It's lovely to speak to you both.
Why? And you too. Is it? Yeah, why? I'm always curious as to when people phone up and say, I've listened to for ages, but, today's the day I pick up the phone. Why is that?
Well, I was coaching abroad in a country that had this exact debate about producing young players.
Okay.
So the initial thing that the Football Association came up with was that one young player should play at some point during the game. And what happens is exactly what you've just expressed, is that people would get subbed on in second half injury time, so they get 30 seconds. So it didn't help the situation. So they turned it around to then say that one young player for each team must start the game. So what a lot of the clubs did is they put a young boy on and then subbed him off at the first time the ball went out of play.
Wow.
So again, totally counterproductive. So while I would support kind of any way of helping young players to get more playing time, there would need to be obviously some careful consideration to the rules behind it, because some clubs would just kind of game the system and potentially do that, which does more harm than good.
What about you had to have at least one homegrown player on the pitch at all times?
Yeah, I think that would work. That could be something that would work. But again, that comes back to Benty's point about the players got to be good enough.
Yeah.
And especially if you're playing at the highest level of the game, if you've got somebody who's not good enough, that's a real weak point for the team that the opponent could use against you. So it's a difficult debate.
Do you know what, right, Andy?
Thanks so much, Sammy. Sorry, can I take Sammy? Sammy, can you do me a favour?
Yeah.
How long have you been listening to talkSPORT for? Roughly.
Many years.
Okay.
I'm always listening to you.
This is the first time you've called. Can you make sure you call back again? I'm not going to wait another 20 years.
Yeah,
all right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you both.
Our pleasure. Thanks for listening, Sam. Go on.
Yeah, what I will say is when you look at when I was coming through Ipswich Town and I was travelling with the first team, I wasn't always in the squad, but the experience that I gained from travelling to all these different stadiums and seeing how they operate, going to Old Trafford, St James's Park, Anfield, even as a kid, like 17-year-old kid, or 16, should I say, when I was travelling, just watching how they operated, I got massive experience from that as well. So
and mixing with the first team
mixing with the first team. So I think there is a way, but to say they've got to start every single game.
Just quickly, let me ask you: when you're that age and you're not in the first team squad, but you are mixing with them, are you with them in the dressing room beforehand? Are you there for the manager's team talk before?
I was, yeah.
Are you in the dressing room at half time?
Yeah, for all of it. Absolutely all of it. And you know what? Someone's made a good point here. It's iconic football shirts. He's made a really good point. And I've said this for years. The worst thing they did was get rid of the reserves. That is the worst thing they did, because under 23s football it's possession based. There's no battle.
What do you mean? Explain yourself.
When I played when I came through the reserves, you played against, say we played Arsenal, for instance, we would play against Arsenal's reserves, but it'd be players who haven't featured in the first team. So one particular game we played Arsenal reserves, they had Edu playing, Parlour was playing, Colo Toro was playing.
Because they're coming back from injury
or they're just not in the first team squad.
So where would those players play now?
As in...
Well, there's no reserve team football.
But that's my point.
So where would those players play now? If you're coming back from injury, where do you play?
They play like one if there's two of you playing down the 23s.
All right. So the game still happens with the experienced players.
Yeah, but the reserves, you can have as many men as you want. Perez was playing in this game.
Oh, I see.
Do you know what I mean? You're playing against actual first teamers. I always thought it was the worst thing in the world to get rid of them.
Okay.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.